I have an amazing backyard, and we all do who live in Polk County. It's the Green River, and a lot of us think of the Green River like this. This is the lower section. It's calm and peaceful, and you can tube it. I tubed it as a kid, and it's wonderful, but then some years back, I came to realize that there's another part of the Green River. It's called the Narrows. And it's Class 5 whitewater, and what you see here is the race that happens every fall. People literally come from all over the world to be part of this unique extreme kayaking race. And as I saw this myself, I began to think, well, maybe I should learn to paddle this. Although I'm not quite sure why you're laughing. So I had to start kind of back over from the beginning. And so I began with learning how to roll again. And, the basic concept is, it's the great thing about kayaking, is these boats are meant for mistakes, right? They're meant to flip over and you roll them back up. So the basic concept is flip, roll, breathe. But I found out that actually I had a problem. I would flip, and I don't know if you can tell or not, but that large gaping mouth I have there, that's me trying to breathe. It's supposed to be flip, roll, breathe, but I was doing flip, breathe, roll. There's something about having your legs restricted, being upside down, and then water up your nose. Some people go, that sounds a lot like torture, but I go, no, it's my hobby. But the first thing you want to do is breathe. And it can get in the way of the actual process. So when I lift my head like that, what it does is it makes it so I can't roll my kayak up. So this is what then happens. I still don't know why you laugh at all these things. But if you see here, my boat is about to flip over and my head is still in the water. That's what it takes. You have to leave the thing you want most for the end. In fact, the great desire I have is to take a sip of air. But if I do that, it shortcuts. It'll ruin my ability to roll, and then I can't breathe. But if I die to that desire for air, then it allows me to go ahead and finish my roll and be able to breathe. And so and then I can clear my head. Literally clear my head. So, what I found was, it's interesting, is like that same dynamic happens in life all the time for me. That desire to kind of maybe go for the quick Band-Aid rather than the enduring solution. And so these lessons that I learn in the river are lessons that apply to my life throughout. And so now that I got rolling down, it was time for me to go to something different. I was talking to my friend Tom, and he and I had been paddling together, and he noticed I had some issues I needed to work on, so he said, you need to go spend time in Wanda's. Wanda's is this hydraulic on the upper section of the green. It's Class 2, Class 3, with a couple of Class 4 spots in it. And a hydraulic is where the water recirculates violently and vertically. And it can hold you in there, or it can let you out. It just depends how well you listen to Wanda. So for me, it was time to go throw myself in this to discover what my friend Tom thought I needed to learn. Because I think the issue was he saw that I was willing to pull my skirt too soon. The skirt is that black neoprene skirt that goes around your waist, and then the edge of it fits over the opening in your kayak. And it's meant to keep the water out and also to make me look slimmer. A little black skirt, I think, always does that. But when you get nervous, when you feel like you can't get out of a situation, we say that's when you pull your skirt. There's a little tab. You pull that, and it breaks the suction that kind of holds you in and allows you to come out. But it's not what you should do. because most often you're in more danger when you come out of your boat and swim than if you were to stay in it. So here I am right above Wanda's getting ready for whatever I'm supposed to learn. Coming along, and there's the hydraulic, and oh, I'm in it. And it was right about here where, I was like, I'm doing what Tom's asked me to do. I'm feeling comfortable with this. I dropped in, and I've been in this hydraulic before where it did not end well. And all of a sudden, my head dips under. I can't get purchase with my paddle. It's just foam. And I think, maybe it's time to pull my skirt. I was overwhelmed. It's amazing the power. You cannot overpower a river. And so you really have to kind of develop a different sense where maybe you're just not so overwhelmed with the power. But all of a sudden, in that moment, I realized, I know how to surface my paddle. I know if I sweep it back and forth, it can come up, which then will allow me to come up. Then I can paddle or try and figure something out. And so I tried that. I did kind of the simple things that I had been working on, and I was able to get up. Now, it took some struggle, and I went back down a little bit, but then eventually I popped out. So what I learned was not to be afraid of this overwhelming power, but to really have a sense of awe about it, to be able to live with it and not just pull my skirt and sort of try and get out of the situation. And really, it reminded me of how important it is to do those simple things, how important the simplest things are. And so, it's like I'm coming home from one of those days that was just too long, and there's too many things going on, and it starts to feel kind of overwhelming. And I come around the corner, I look out, and there's that beautiful sunset. And that sense of awe that washes over me, instead of being overwhelmed, really animates and allows me to kind of continue on. It's those simplest things that really are the things that get us through. So I'm not sure Tom wanted me to learn such beautiful things. He just wanted me to be able to get out of a hydraulic. But eventually he's like, okay, I think you're ready, and I'll take you down the Narrows. This is the rapid called Gorilla. It's they call it a 5+ or a 5.2 class rapid, because class 6 is a rapid that if you were to go down it, you would die. And then if someone survives it, they call it class 5. So the Green Narrows is full of class 5 rapids. And personally, I've said it before, this is just a hobby for me. So I get out of the river up above Gorilla and walk around, and because I want to avoid Gorilla. And then there's also a class 5 rapid down kind of to the left. And so this is how we avoid it. You can see the river here. There's speed trap, and then you go down, and there's the other thing. So the way you avoid it is you slide 20 feet down this rock face, drop off the cliff into the water, and then paddle as hard as you can to get to the right, because to the left is class 5, and then you just drop down this. So that's the easy way out. But it's so beautiful. It really is. It's just, to be in the midst of it is just an amazing thing. So the first time I ever went down the Narrows, the last class 5 rapid is Hammer Factor. And I flipped in it, and there's a thing at the bottom, and I was caught, and I was scared, and so I pulled my skirt and I swam. And I was kind of disappointed in myself on that. I was okay, but I really didn't need to do that. And so the next time we were headed down, the friends and I that I were with, we came into this eddy, and a fellow was waiting for the rest of his friends to catch up. His name is Shane Benedict. Shane is one of the co-founders of Liquid Logic. And actually, he literally was the guy that designed the boat I was sitting in. And he designed the boat for this river. And so we were just chatting, and I mentioned that, I had some trouble in Hammer Factor, and I kind of swam at the end. And he said, here's the thing. Right at the end, right when you see that curler and the big rock is like over your head and you think you're going to get washed under there, he says, just lift your right knee. I was like, well, it's time to go. So we left, and he stayed behind, and so we got to Hammer Factor. This is, what I'll show you is kind of the entrance to Hammer Factor, and above it is a rapid we call Toilet Bowl. There's Tom in front, making his way down, and then we call this Toilet Bowl. It's class 4, and it's real swirly, and so this kind of gives you a sense of how back-to-back some of these rapids are. So there's Tom going to the right, and I'm going to go to the left and just get ready to run Hammer Factor. So I'm making my way through here. I'm going to squeeze between a couple of rocks. And then I found this eddy. And I thought, okay, this is good. Can I get out and walk from here? That might be but I couldn't. And there's Hammer Factor, and it's like, well, it's time to go. And so I started down into this, and it's right about there, when the water all of a sudden hits me in the face, and I hear those voices that say, "What were you thinking? Who do you think you are? You're an old man. Get out of the river." Now, we can stop and reflect on this at this point, but really you don't get that much time. The water hits you in the face, and then you continue on. Oh, and there's that rock, and the hydraulic. And all of a sudden I heard, "Lift your right knee." And so I decided to listen to the voice of the designer. And I lifted my knee, my bow popped up. But somehow I came through okay. So this is an amazing backyard. I can walk to this rapid from my back porch in about 25 minutes. But this is all our backyard, and it's an amazing hobby. It allows me to not just look at the beauty and the power that's here available to us, but I actually get to get in it and be surrounded by it and engulfed by it. And it's just an amazing thing. But even beyond that, my hobby taught me something even more enduring, more important. My hobby taught me lessons for my life. That there are times in our lives when we're just going along with the flow and everything's going fine, but then there's rocks and obstacles and fear can kick in. And here's the thing. At each of these points, there's just this little tiny moment, a moment of decision, a moment of clarity or obscurity. There's a moment where you can experience fear and be overwhelmed, or you can experience awe and open yourself to what is going on. And so what I learned is that in my life, sometimes it's so important to be able to die to those short-term desires, that sort of Band-Aid fix, and instead seek the things that are more enduring. The things, instead of just worrying about that sip of air, but really being able to experience an abundant life. And it takes that ability to die to those desires, or to have my capacity for awe just increased, is such a gift. To be able to not be overwhelmed by the power that is out there, but instead to let the beauty wash over me. To let the connectedness ground me is just the most amazing gift. And then also finally to be able to listen not to that voice that says you can't or you should get out of the river, get out of whatever it is you're doing, but to listen to that deepest, that truest voice that says, lift your right knee. I've learned so much in the Green River, and I just can't wait to hear what you learn in your backyard. Thank you.